300 years ago, humanity learned a terrible truth about itself. When the Krell slavers took 2,000 human children from a small colony world, no one expected what would happen next. Humanity did not send diplomats. They did not negotiate. They did not warn. In 6 hours, the entire Krell species was gone. 12 billion lives across 47 worlds, erased from existence. The galaxy watched in horror as the friendly, curious humans revealed what they truly were. Every ship, every city, every last Krell-breathing creature was destroyed. Humanity showed no mercy because mercy was never requested for their children. After that day, the Galactic Council created the first law. It was simple. No species shall ever harm human children. Breaking this law meant losing all protection from the Council. It meant your species would face humanity alone. For 300 years, no one was stupid enough to test this law. Park Do-hyun stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station and watched the stars. He was the captain of the human peacekeeping vessel Eternal Dawn, and today was supposed to be a happy day. The annual Children's Cultural Exchange was happening, and over 300 human children had come to celebrate alongside alien kids from dozens of worlds. Do-hyun was a tall man, with gray hair at his temples, and calm eyes that had seen many things. He had served humanity for 30 years, but most of that service had been peaceful. Humanity had become respected members of the galactic community. The old fears had faded. Young humans grew up believing the galaxy was safe. He hoped they were right. Below him, in the Great Hall of Harmony Station, children laughed and played. Human children showed alien kids how to fold paper into birds. Small insectoid children taught human kids how to make music with their wings. It was beautiful. The kind of scene that made Do-hyun proud of what the galaxy had become. Dr. Kim Yuna stood among the crowd, watching her 2 children prepare for their performance. Her daughter Sujin was 9 years old, serious and smart, with her mother's sharp eyes. Her son Minho was 6, full of energy and wonder, always asking questions about the strange aliens around him. "Mom, are you watching?" Sujin called out. "I am watching," Yuna said with a warm smile. "Show them the beauty of our culture." The music started, and Sujin led her brother in a traditional fan dance. Their movements were graceful, the colorful fans spinning and flowing like water. Alien children watched with wide eyes. Some tried to copy the movements with their own limbs, tentacles, or wings. Yuna felt tears in her eyes. This was why she had become a scientist. This was why she studied alien life. She believed that all species could live together in peace. Looking at her children dancing alongside aliens, she felt that dream was real. But far away from the celebration, in a dark room on the station, other plans were being made. Counselor Vethra was a Morvani, an insectoid being with 4 arms and eyes like black stones. She met with 3 other council members, all of them part of a secret group called the Purists. They believed humanity had become too powerful. The first law had made other species afraid. Humans could do anything they wanted, and no one dared to stop them. "We must break their spirit," Vethra said, her voice clicking and harsh. "We must show the galaxy that humans are not gods. They can be hurt. They can be defeated." "The first law protects their children," another counselor said nervously. "If we touch them, humanity will destroy us." "Humanity has grown soft," Vethra replied. "They have forgotten how to fight. Their warships are old. Their soldiers are untested. If we strike fast and hard, we can capture their offspring and force them to negotiate. By the time they respond, we will have changed the balance of power forever." The other counselors exchanged worried looks, but greed and fear won over wisdom. They agreed to the plan. Back on the observation deck, Lieutenant Han Tae-woo approached Captain Do-hyun. Tae-woo was young, barely 30, with idealistic eyes and a belief that the universe was good. He was Do-hyun's second-in-command and closest friend. "Captain, I received a strange message," Tae-woo said quietly. "Intelligence suggests the Purist faction is planning something. Should we increase security?" Do-hyun frowned. He had heard rumors about the Purists for years, but they had never acted. "It is probably nothing," he said. "Today, is a day of peace. Let the children enjoy themselves. He would regret those words for the rest of his life. The alarm started screaming without warning. Red lights flashed across every corridor. Do-hyun ran to the command center, his heart pounding. What he saw on the tactical display made his blood turn cold. 40 warships had appeared around Harmony Station. They were unmarked, but their weapons were charging. On the communications screen, a message was playing on repeat: surrender the human children for protective relocation, or face immediate destruction. This is the will of the Galactic Council. Do-hyun stared at the screen. For a moment, he could not believe what he was seeing. 300 years of peace, shattered in an instant. The first law, broken like it was nothing. Around him, his crew looked to their captain for guidance. Below him, 300 human children had stopped dancing and were crying for their parents. Do-hyun watched the tactical display fill with red signatures, and for the first time in his career, he felt something he thought humanity had forgotten: fear. Captain Do-hyun's hands did not shake as he pressed the communication button. His voice was steady when he spoke, even though his heart was breaking. This is Captain Park Do-hyun of the Eternal Dawn. We refuse your demand. The children stay with us. The enemy fleet did not respond with words. They responded with weapons fire. The station shook as the first shots struck the outer shields. Lights flickered. Children screamed. Do-hyun turned to his crew. Begin evacuation. All civilians to the inner shelters. All combat personnel to defense positions. We hold until help arrives. Lieutenant Tae-woo looked at the tactical display. 2 human warships against 40 enemies. The numbers were impossible. Captain, help is 3 hours away. We cannot survive that long. Then we will die protecting them, Do-hyun said simply. That is what we do. Deep in the lower decks, Dr. Kim Yuna ran through the corridors with her children. Soo-jin held her mother's hand tightly, her young face pale but determined. Little Minho was crying, his small legs struggling to keep up. Mom, what is happening? Soo-jin asked. Bad people want to hurt us, Yuna said. She picked up Minho and kept running. But we will be safe. The soldiers will protect us. They reached the children's shelter, a reinforced room deep inside the station. Hundreds of children were already there, human and alien alike, all of them scared. Parents held their kids close, teachers tried to keep everyone calm. Yuna found a corner and sat down with her children. Minho buried his face in her chest. Soo-jin looked up at her mother, with eyes too old for a 9-year-old. Will the bad aliens get us? Minho whispered. Before Yuna could answer, Soo-jin spoke. No, she said firmly. Humans always protect each other. Someone will come. Someone always comes. Yuna held them both and prayed her daughter was right. Outside the shelter, Private Bae Sunwoo stood guard with a small squad of Marines. He was 22 years old, fresh out of training, and this was his first real assignment. He had expected to spend his deployment doing patrols and paperwork. Instead, he was holding a rifle and waiting for enemy soldiers to come through the door. His hands were shaking. Steady, Private, his sergeant said. We have one job. Nothing gets through that door. Understand? Yes, Sergeant, Sunwoo said. He thought about his own family back on Earth. He thought about the children behind him. He tightened his grip on his weapon and waited. The enemy came 10 minutes later. Morvani soldiers poured through the corridors, their 4 arms carrying multiple weapons. They were fast, professional, and they showed no mercy. Sunwoo's squad fought hard, but they were outnumbered 10-1. Marines fell one by one. Sunwoo took a shot to his shoulder but kept firing. He killed 3 Morvani before his rifle ran out of power. He drew his knife and kept fighting. When it was over, Sunwoo was the only one left alive. He lay on the ground, bleeding, watching as Morvani soldiers cut through the shelter door. He tried to stand, but his body would not obey. No, he whispered. Please, no. Inside the shelter, chaos erupted. Morvani soldiers grabbed children, separating them from their parents. Yuna fought like a wild animal, biting and scratching, but a Morvani soldier struck her down with one blow. She fell to the ground, dazed. Through blurry eyes, she watched as they took Sujin and Minho. Her daughter was screaming her name. Her son was crying for his mother. "No!" Yuna screamed. She tried to crawl toward them, but more soldiers held her down. The Morvani did not listen. They only wanted the children. 17 human children were taken that day, loaded onto shuttles and flown to the enemy flagship. Among them were Sujin and Minho, holding hands and trying to be brave for each other. On the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, Captain Do-hyun received the report. His ship was dying. Half his crew was dead. The station's shields were failing. And now, the worst news of all. "They took children, Captain," Tae-woo said, his voice hollow. 17 of them. They are on the enemy flagship." Do-hyun closed his eyes. He had failed. He had promised to protect them, and he had failed. "Sir, what do we do?" Tae-woo asked. Do-hyun opened his eyes. They were filled with something cold and ancient. "Get me a direct line to Earth. Priority Alpha. This message goes to the High Admiralty." It took 3 minutes to establish the connection. 3 minutes that felt like hours. When the link was ready, Do-hyun spoke 4 words that would change the galaxy forever. "They took our children." On Earth, in the Great Hall of the Human Admiralty, that message played on every screen. Officers stopped moving. Conversations died. The entire room became silent as death. Admiral Choi Yoon-ji was 73 years old. Her hair was white. Her face was lined with age. But her eyes were still sharp as knives. They called her the Iron Grandmother because she had never lost a battle and never shown weakness. She listened to the message. Then she listened to it again. Her expression did not change. She did not cry. She did not shout. She simply stood up and walked to the main control console. Every officer watched her in silence. "Open the Black Archive," she said. "Authorization Choi Yoon-ji, Admiral of the Fleet. Code. Sleeping Giant." A young officer hesitated. "Admiral. The Black Archive contains the Extinction Fleet. We have not opened it in 300 years. "I know what it contains," Yoon-ji said. "I am the one who helped put it there. Now open it." The officer obeyed. Deep beneath the surface of a dozen hidden moons and asteroids, doors that had been sealed for 3 centuries began to open. Admiral Yoon-ji looked at the officers around her. Her voice was calm, steady, and absolutely terrifying. "Wake the sleeping fleet, all of it. And send a message to every human in the galaxy. Tell them what happened. Tell them their children were taken." She paused. "Then watch what happens when you break the first law." In the halls of the Human Admiralty, silence fell. Then, slowly, officers began to move. Messages were sent. Orders were given. And across human space, sleeping giants began to wake. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. Now they would pay for it. The galaxy thought it knew humanity. Friendly explorers, curious scientists, peaceful traders. For 300 years, humans had shown the universe a gentle face. They built schools, not warships. They sent teachers, not soldiers. The old stories about the Krell were forgotten, dismissed as exaggeration. Now the galaxy would remember. Deep in the asteroid belts beyond human space, doors opened that had not moved in centuries. Dust fell from ancient metal. Lights flickered to life in cold, dark corridors. Ships began to wake. Thousands of them, hidden in hollowed rocks and frozen moons. These were not the sleek, pretty vessels the galaxy knew. These were ugly things, black and brutal, covered in weapons. They had no windows because their crews did not need to see. They had no comfort because comfort was not their purpose. They were built for one reason only: extinction. On Earth, Admiral Choi Yoon-ji stood before a global broadcast. Every human in the galaxy watched. Her face was calm. Her voice was steady. But her words were fire. 300 years ago, we made a promise to the galaxy. We told them that our children were sacred. We told them that anyone who harmed our young would face consequences beyond imagination. They did not believe us. She paused, letting the silence stretch. Yesterday, forces allied with the Galactic Council attacked a peaceful station. They killed our people. They took 17 of our children. Among them were 2 young ones, a girl named Sujin and a boy named Minho. They are 9 and 6 years old. They are scared. They are calling for their mother. Unji's eyes hardened. The galaxy has forgotten why the first law exists. We are going to remind them. To every human hearing this message, know that we are coming. To every species that participated in this attack, know that we are coming. And to the children they took, know that we will never stop. We will burn the stars themselves to bring you home. The broadcast ended. Across human space, people did not panic. They did not protest. They simply went to their assigned stations and prepared for war. Teachers became soldiers. Scientists became weapons engineers. Artists became communication officers. Humanity had been at peace so long that the galaxy thought they had forgotten how to fight. They were wrong. Commander Zhang Haiyan walked through the corridors of her ship, the Black Morning. It was the flagship of the Extinction Fleet, a vessel so secret that its existence was considered a myth. Haiyan was 45 years old, with short black hair and eyes that had seen too much training and too little action. Her entire life had been preparation for a war she hoped would never come. Now it was here. "Commander," her first officer said, "the fleet is ready. 4,700 ships, all fully armed. We await your orders." Haiyan nodded. She thought about the children on that enemy flagship. She thought about their parents. She thought about what humanity was about to do. "Set course for Council space," she said. "Maximum speed. And activate the choir." Deep within the ship, something stirred. The choir was humanity's greatest and most terrible creation. It was a network of artificial minds, connected across every human world, dormant for 3 centuries. Its purpose was simple: to ensure humanity's enemies experienced consequences. When it woke, it spoke with 10 million voices in perfect harmony. "We are awake. We remember. We are ready." On the enemy flagship, far from this awakening terror, the captured children huddled in cold cells. They had been given no food, no water, no comfort. Guards laughed at them through the bars. Sujin held her little brother close. Minho had stopped crying, but his small body was shaking. Other children around them whimpered in the dark. "Sujin," Minho whispered, "are we going to die?" "No," Sujin said firmly. "We are not going to die. Mom is coming. The soldiers are coming. We just have to be brave until they get here." A Morvani guard walked past their cell, his insect eyes gleaming with amusement. "Your people are weak," he said in broken human language. "They send diplomats, not warriors. By the time they negotiate your release, you will be old and broken. No one is coming to save you." Sujin looked up at him. She was 9 years old, small and helpless. But her eyes held no fear, only certainty. "You do not know humans very well," she said quietly. "They are coming. And when they get here, you will wish you had never been born." The guard laughed and walked away. He did not believe her. He should have. In Council space, the first reports began to arrive. Ships appearing at the edge of detection. Not dozens. Not hundreds. Thousands. The purest faction received the news in their secure chambers. And for the first time, doubt crept into their hearts. Elder Counselor Mokhtar was a reptilian being, ancient and cold. He had been alive during the Krell incident. He had seen what humanity could do, but centuries had passed, and he had convinced himself it was exaggeration. Surely no species could be that ruthless. "How many ships?" he demanded. "We count over 3,000 so far," his aide reported. "But more keep appearing. Our scouts cannot get close enough to confirm." "That is impossible," Counselor Vethra said. Our intelligence said humans had less than 500 warships. Those are their public ships, Mukhtar said slowly. Horror was growing in his ancient eyes. These are something else. Something they have been hiding. He reached for the communication console. Contact the human fleet. Offer to return the children immediately. Offer anything they want. The message was sent. The response came from Admiral Unji herself, broadcast across every frequency. You offer to return what you stole. You think this is negotiation. You think you can take our children, kill our people, and then simply give them back, and all will be forgiven. Her voice grew colder. Insufficient. You broke the first law. Now you will learn what that means. We are not coming to negotiate. We are not coming to discuss. We are coming to teach the galaxy a lesson it will never forget. The transmission ended. Elder Counselor Mokhtar sat in silence for a long moment. Then he looked at his fellow purists with eyes full of ancient terror. What have we done? He whispered. What have we awakened? Outside, the stars were filling with black ships. The extinction fleet had arrived, and humanity had not come to talk. The battle for Morvani Prime lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the planet's orbital defenses were melted slag. Their fleet was scattered debris floating in the void. Commander Jang Hyon stood on the bridge of the Black Morning and watched the world burn beneath her. Counselor Vethra has 3 hours to surrender herself and the other purist leaders, she broadcast to the planet below. Failure to comply will result in extinction-level bombardment. There will be no second warning. 2 hours and 47 minutes later, Vethra was delivered to a human shuttle by her own people. They did not want to die for her crimes, but the children had not been found on Morvani Prime. Intelligence suggested they were still aboard the enemy flagship, hiding somewhere in deep space. The hunt continued. Dr. Kim Yuna had not slept since her children were taken. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Her hands trembled constantly. But when Lieutenant Han Tae-woo told her a rescue mission was being assembled, she demanded to join. You are a scientist? Not a soldier, Tae-woo said gently. This will be dangerous. They are my children, Yuna replied. Her voice was hollow, but her eyes burned with desperate fire. I do not care about danger. I will not sit here and wait. Either I go with you, or I steal a ship and go alone. Tae-woo saw the truth in her face. She meant every word. Very well, he said. Stay close to me. Do exactly what I say. The rescue team was small but deadly. 20 Marines, the best humanity had. Among them was Private Bae Sun-woo, recovered from his wounds and burning for revenge. His shoulder still ached where the Morvani shot him, but pain did not matter anymore. Those aliens had taken children from the shelter he was supposed to protect. He would get them back, or die trying. The enemy flagship was hiding in a nebula, using the gas clouds to mask its signature, but the choir found it. The great AI network had been searching with 10 million eyes, scanning every corner of space, and nothing could hide from its gaze forever. Target located, the choir announced in its harmonic voice. Transmitting coordinates. The children are alive. 17 life signs detected on Deck 7. Commander Hayon ordered the Black Morning forward. Get our people close enough to board. Then keep that ship from running. The approach was violent. Enemy weapons fire lit up the nebula like lightning. Shields screamed under the assault. But the Black Morning was built for this. It pushed through the storm and latched onto the flagship like a predator seizing prey. Boarding team, go, Hayon commanded. Bring our children home. Lieutenant Tae-woo led the charge through the breach. The corridors of the enemy ship were narrow and full of defenders. Fighting was brutal, close range, and bloody. Tae-woo had trained for this his entire career. But training was nothing compared to the real thing. Marines fell. Enemies fell. The walls became painted with blood of multiple colors. Dr. Yuna stayed behind Tae-woo, carrying a weapon she barely knew how to use. Fear gripped her heart with cold fingers, but she kept moving. Somewhere on this ship, Sujin and Minho were waiting. She would find them or die here. Private Sun-woo fought at the front of the group, his rifle blazing. Every Morvani he killed was payment for the children they had stolen. Every step forward was a step closer to redemption. He had failed once. He would not fail again. They reached Deck 7. The children's holding cells were ahead, guarded by the last defenders. Sunwoo led the final assault, taking 2 more wounds but refusing to stop. When the smoke cleared, the guards were dead, and the cells were in human hands. But the cells were empty. "Where are they?" Sunwoo demanded, grabbing a dying Morvani guard. "Where are the children?" The guard laughed, blood bubbling from his mouth. "Gone. The elder took them. He will use them as shields. You will never find them in time." Taewoo checked his scanner. 17 small life signs, moving through the ship's infrastructure. They were in the ventilation systems, hiding, running. They escaped, he realized. The children escaped on their own. In the dark tunnels of the ship's ventilation, Sujin led the other children through cramped passages. She had spent 3 days watching the guards, learning their patterns, memorizing the ship's layout from the maps on their screens. When the attack started, and the guards were distracted, she had acted. "Keep moving," she whispered to the others. "Stay quiet. We have to reach the cargo bay." Little Minho crawled beside her, his small face smeared with dust and tears. "Sujin, I am scared." "I know," she said. "I am scared too. But we have to be brave. Mom taught us that. We have to keep going." They reached the cargo bay through a vent grate. Sujin pushed it open and helped the other children down. They huddled together in the dark, surrounded by crates, listening to the sounds of battle echoing through the ship. The door to the cargo bay opened. Sujin's heart stopped. She pushed the younger children behind her, ready to fight with her bare hands if she had to. But the figure in the doorway was not an alien. It was her mother. Yuna saw her daughter standing in the dim light, dirty and exhausted but alive. Behind her, Minho peeked out with wide eyes. For a moment, Yuna could not move. Then she was running, falling to her knees, gathering her children in her arms. "Mom!" Minho cried, burying his face in her chest. "You came," Sujin whispered. "You really came." "I will always come," Yuna said, tears streaming down her face. "Always. I will never stop. I will never give up. You are my children. You are everything." Lieutenant Taewoo and the Marines secured the cargo bay. Private Sunwoo found the other children. All 17 of them. Scared but unharmed. He knelt down to their level and smiled despite his wounds. "You are safe now," he said. "We are taking you home." Far above, Commander Hyeon received confirmation. All children recovered. All children alive. She closed her eyes for a moment, allowing herself to feel relief. Then she opened them and gave a new order. "The children are safe. Begin Phase 2. On her screen, the enemy flagship was trying to flee. Elder Counselor Mokhtar was aboard, hoping to escape into deep space. Hyeon did not destroy his ship. Instead, she had it captured, tractored into the Black Morning's hold. Some punishments were worse than death. Admiral Yoonji received the news back on Earth. She allowed herself a small smile, the first in days. Then her face hardened again. "Phase 2, she said to her officers. "Show them what happens when you break the first law. Show them what extinction looks like." The extinction fleet spread across Council space like a dark tide, and the reckoning began. 1 year had passed since the day they called the Awakening. The 4 species that had planned the attack on Harmony Station no longer existed as powers. Their governments were gone, dismantled by their own people who wanted to appease humanity's wrath. Their fleets were destroyed, reduced to floating scrap metal. Their leaders were dead, executed by their own kind in desperate attempts to survive. Elder Counselor Mokhtar and Counselor Vethra had faced trial before the entire galaxy. They had begged for mercy. They had claimed they were manipulated. They had cried and pleaded. Humanity had shown them the same mercy they showed the children they kidnapped. None. The Galactic Council was reformed under new rules. The first law was rewritten, not by aliens this time, but by humanity. The new words were carved into the walls of the council chamber in letters of gold. "Human children are sacred. This is not a law. This is a warning. Those who forget will be reminded." Every species in the galaxy memorized those words. Every parent told their children the story of what happened when someone broke the rule. The tale of the awakening became the most famous story in the universe, passed down through generations as a lesson. Do not harm human children. Ever. For any reason. On the rebuilt Harmony Station, Captain Park Do-hyun stood once again on the observation deck. His hair was whiter now, and a scar ran down the left side of his face from that terrible day, but his eyes were still calm, still steady. He had been given command of the new station with one condition. The children's cultural exchange would continue every year. Bigger than before. It would be a reminder of what they were protecting. "Captain," Lieutenant Tae-woo said, joining him at the window. "The delegations are arriving. Over 1,000 children this year." Do-hyun nodded. "Good. Let them come. Let them dance and play and learn together. That is what we fight for." Quote, below, in the Great Hall, children were already gathering. Human kids taught alien kids how to make origami. Insectoid children showed human kids how to create light patterns with their wings. Laughter echoed through the corridors. Dr. Kim Yuna watched from the side of the room, a soft smile on her face. She had returned to her research, but she was different now. The gentle scientist had learned that she could fight when she needed to. She hoped she would never need to again. Her children had changed too. Sujin was 10 now. Tall for her age, with serious eyes that saw everything. She no longer played with other children much. Instead, she studied military history, tactical analysis, leadership theory. When Yuna asked her why, Sujin had looked up with those two old eyes and said, "I want to be ready. Not for revenge. I do not hate the aliens. But someone has to protect the little ones. Someone has to be ready when danger comes." Yuna had held her daughter close and cried. The little girl who loved to dance had become something else. War had touched her, changed her, made her grow up too fast. But Minho was different. The little boy was 7 now, and somehow, impossibly, he had kept his light. He still asked endless questions about the aliens around him. He still believed the universe was full of wonders. The darkness had touched him, but it had not taken root. "Mom," he said, tugging at her sleeve, "can we get snacks? The Faliri kids have this blue candy that tastes like clouds." Yuna laughed. "Yes, we can get snacks. Go find your sister." She watched her son run off into the crowd, weaving between alien legs and human children, completely unafraid. Maybe, she thought, that was what they were really protecting. Not just the children themselves, but their ability to see wonder in the universe. On Earth, Admiral Choi Eun-ji had finally retired. 74 years old, tired in her bones, she handed command to younger officers and went home. But before she left, a young lieutenant asked her a question. "Admiral, do you regret what we did? The destruction? The death? Was it worth it?" Eun-ji looked at him for a long moment. Then she spoke. "We gave the galaxy 300 years of peace. 3 centuries where no one touched our children because they were afraid. They chose to test us. They chose to see if we were bluffing." She shook her head. "We were not bluffing, and now the galaxy knows. They will not forget this lesson for 1,000 years. So yes, it was worth it. Every species that thinks about harming human children will remember what happened here. They will remember, and they will stop." The lieutenant nodded slowly. "But so many died. Billions of beings who had nothing to do with the attack." "Yes," Eun-ji said quietly. "And I will carry those deaths with me forever. That is the price of protecting our own. It is heavy. It is terrible. But I would pay it again, because our children are sacred. All children are sacred. And if the galaxy needs to fear us to keep them safe, then so be it." She walked away, leaving the young officer to think about her words. The extinction fleet returned to its hidden berths. The choir went dormant once more, sleeping in the deep places of human space. The soldiers went home to their families. Humanity returned to being the friendly, curious, unremarkable species the galaxy had always known. But everyone understood now. It was a mask. Beneath the gentle face was something old and terrible, sleeping but never gone. On Harmony Station, a new alien ambassador arrived for diplomatic training. He was young, nervous, trying to understand these strange humans who could be so kind and so devastating. His guide was Bei Sun-woo, no longer a private but a decorated sergeant, with medals on his chest and wisdom in his eyes. His old wounds had healed, but his purpose had not changed. "I do not understand," the ambassador said as they walked through the station. "Why are humans so protective of their young? All species care for their offspring. But you treat it like a religion." Sun-woo stopped walking. He looked down at the alien with a gentle smile. "Because they are our future," he said simply. "They carry our hopes, our dreams, everything we wish we could be. When you hurt a human child, you are not just hurting one person. You are attacking everything we believe in, everything we are fighting for." He paused, looking out the window at the stars. "We will negotiate anything else: territory, resources, power. We will compromise, we will discuss, we will find peaceful solutions. But our children? No negotiation. No compromise. No mercy." The ambassador shivered slightly. "That is frightening." "Yes," Sun-woo agreed. "It is supposed to be." They continued walking in silence. Somewhere in the station, children laughed and played, unaware of the terrible history that protected them. Somewhere in the dark between stars, the sleeping fleet waited, patient and eternal. The first law held, and in the cold vastness of space, the galaxy remembered. Some laws are not written in books. Some laws are written in blood and fire and the ashes of dead worlds. Some laws exist because one species loved their children so much that they would burn the universe to keep them safe. The galaxy had learned this lesson. They would not forget, never again.